Good morning. Welcome you all on behalf of Central Florida Indian community. My name is Srini. Today, we have scheduled a Zoom session with our attorney Madhurima Paturi, and this is a very important subject. We are going to discuss today two areas. One is H1B recent changes and also new executive orders, how it is going to impact the immigration laws on H1B and for the students and also for the green card holders. So Madhurima Garu, she has been here since long time, more than 2 decades, and she has been practicing in immigration law, since long time, and she is very helpful for our community on immigration matters. If anybody have any question or if anybody needs any advice or if anybody's case needs to process through immigration process, she's very helpful. And so kind of you. Thank you, Madhurima Garu, for being part of our community. Thank you very much. Welcome you, Madhurima Garu. So,
Srini garu, thank you. You guys are doing amazing job with CFIC. I think giving the resources to the community, and I'm glad I'm part of this community where we all can share our knowledge and professionalism between our community needs. My name is Madhurima Paturi, as Srini was telling you, and we started the Paturi law 20 years ago, and we do US immigration law and real estate law. If you all need any services or help, please do reach out to us. Other than practicing the law, one of my biggest passion is trying to educate the community, which is, I think it's the most important thing. We do a lot of these free webinars just to make sure that we are all understanding what's going on. In the process of the same thing, as you know that there's so many changes happened in last 48 to, I guess, last 4 to 5 days, I could say. So there's much to discuss. I don't know how many of you here are on the H1B. So we are going to cover part of it is also the H1B because there is also major changes in the H1B. I know either you are on the H1B or not on the H1B, either you're legal or not legal, either you are US citizen or permanent resident. One of the most hot topic in last few days, everybody is worrying about is the birthright citizenship, right? So we'll start a little bit on that. I could easily say that nothing to be concerned at the time. Obviously, as you know, that there is a 14th Amendment, the Constitution, which says very clearly that anybody who born in the soil of the United States, regardless of the status of the parents' immigration status, they are considered as U.S. citizens. That's a part of the Constitution. And to change something, a Constitution is especially the amendments like that is really, really hard. As you all know that there is a lot of already the petitions are holding on against to this particular order, and we also have a strike from the Seattle court where the judge halted on this executive order. So there is nothing happening at this time. I don't think, if you ask my opinion, there is nothing is going to happen in that because it's a lot. We are not just talking about going forward. That means that we are also going to go back, who've been born in this country for years, centuries, and it means a lot. So, in a simple terms, in a layman words, if I have to say that, I don't want any of you to be concerned on that at this point. So anyway, the courts also halted on that. There is nothing to be much discussed on that. I don't want you to all worry about it. What would happen if you're pregnant? Should I go give a birth quickly before anything happens? I know there's a lot going on out there in the social media and people are talking about it. Families are discussing these things. I think you shouldn't be worried about it at this point. So that's about the birthright citizenship, and we're going to be discussing on few other things, not just the H-1B. And I know how the ICE is trying to show up at your houses and the temples and schools and all those kind of things. What to be aware, try to know your rights. While I'm discussing all these things, I think the chat is open for questions. So I'm going to talk a little bit, but you also know a lot in the news and the other medias. So I think that more than me talking, we can take the questions so I can see that what exactly the people concerns are. So quickly before we get to the questions, I just want to cover the H-1Bs. As I said that I don't know exactly. We are specifically do these webinars for the companies, but if there is any H-1Bs here that could help. So the major changes happened on last Friday. That means not yesterday. The week before the Friday is where the new memo for the H-1B changes happened. So a lot of those changes, when you look at it, if you've been in the H-1B field as a beneficiary or employer, you know those things are what there the 4 years before, that means that the before the Biden administration. So like a specialty occupation, it was there. The client letters, which is a requirement now, it was there 4 years ago. It just came back a lot of those things. So what is that means is that means that every single person who don't work directly to the employer and they work for third party, any client, they do require for the client letter. Okay, so they have to provide the itinerary. That means that client has to tell that how long is the project, what is that the job requires. They have to mention the job duties. They also have to mention what is required for the job to be qualified. Bachelor's in this, master's in this, or the experience in this. Not just the employer telling in the employer letter, the client has to also mention. So what is the USCIS is going to look forward is what is the client requirements? Is the client really required the specialty occupation? Is what they're going to look at it. And also the most important is the duration, especially when you do the H-1Bs, a lot of them, as you know, that we require usually for 3 years because H-1B is for the total of 6 years before you get the your I-140 approval, 3 years in the beginning and extension for 3 years. So it was not a problem in last 4 years when we are asking for extensions or the initial H-1B is asking for 3 years because there is no requirement for the client or the project, how long the duration is. So the employer usually asks for 3 years and the USCIS just approved for 3 years. Right now, the client also has to mention in the letter saying that they do need them for 3 years, then only you get for 3 years. If the client says in the client letter all they require is 6 months for the project, your H-1B is only approved for 6 months. That means that you have to do multiple extensions, or whenever there is a change in there, there's a multiple amendments also needed. Extensions and amendments whenever there is a material change. That means that you move out of that metropolitan area. If there is any change in the job title or is any change in the salary, any material things, you're going to do the H-1B amendment. So the most important amendment being there, extension being there, all of those things are been there before. The only change, or let's say that more than change, I could say that the regulations came back is a very specification about the client letters, the duration, the specialty occupation, those kind of things. Other than that, the good things are with the new H-1B rule is entrepreneurship. So if let's say that somebody who just graduated, they wanted to start their own company on the H-1B, they can do it, which is also there before. The only difference is before they couldn't manage their own company. So in the new H-1B rule, you could manage up to certain point, but I still recommend to have some other manager to supervise you because somebody needs to control, or you have to show that employer-employee relationship. Even if you are your own entrepreneur, you do say your own self-employment H-1B, you still need somebody to manage administrative things. So you can still run your business as long as it is a specialty occupation. That means that the duties you're doing, the business you're doing has to be specialty occupation related. So it has to be something very technical. It has to be something, a minimum of bachelor's requirement education is needed to do those kind of the job duties. And also there is a little shift of the specialty occupation duties also. before it uses to tell the job title can be normally used for this industry. So right now they tighten little bit on that. Instead of saying normally, they want to see majority of that industry is going to use the specialty occupation skills beneficiary. So that means that not normally is not anymore normal according to them. Not sure exactly how they're going to process these things. For now, the language is not normally the industry. The word normal doesn't is not satisfied to the USCIS anymore. That means that you need to be specialized, even that industry, that this is required. Required is the word for you to be successful for the H1B. The word requirement I want to see in the client letters, vendor letters, employer letters, everywhere saying that it is a requirement for this job, for this industry, somebody with a bachelor's degree and more. That's what we have to see towards the layers of the thing. And the duration is very, very important. If we have the less duration, more than less than 3 years, that means that you're looking for a multiple extensions.
So,
So
Paturi, Madhurima garu, here,
mhm.
for the subsequent questions, when the subject is going on. So, suppose if somebody got the H1B for particular specialty, and you said that they can open a business, so that business also related to the same one what he got the H1, right?
So the business can be varieties of the things, but the job, what he is going to be doing, is what important for the specialty occupation. Let's say if it is a manufacturing company, right? There's a
Mhm.
lot of things in the manufacturing. There's a mechanical engineer needed for that particular job. That mechanical engineer, if that CEO is going to be the mechanical engineer, then he qualifies to be the entrepreneur.
Yeah, but can he open the restaurant?
I don't see there is a specialty occupation needed for the restaurant to be open. What is his job is going to be what we need to see.
That's
First, he
what.
need to qualify the job for the specialty occupation before he become entrepreneur. What is his role is going to be in the
Yeah,
restaurant?
he's a IT guy. He's a IT guy for the specialty. So
Mhm.
he got his H1, but he's trying to open the LLC for restaurant.
No, he should. He also has to work in the same company.
Oh, okay.
It's not like he's working for somebody else and go open other restaurant. No, that's not what it is. H1B entrepreneur means that the job you're going to be doing in the same place where you're going to be opening your own business.
Okay, got it.
You need to find your specialty occupation role in the business you're opening.
So that should be, very carefully. Now we need to watch on that one, what businesses we are opening up. So, okay, please go ahead. Thank you.
So that's a good question. And one of the other good thing which changed is the cap gap extension. This is particularly to the F1 students. So previously, until the last week, the cap gap is something like if somebody applied for the H1B in April and they're supposed to start, or they have to have approval by October of that physical year, so they can start working from the October of 2024 if they applied the application in April of 2024. Sometimes it doesn't approve uh, by the time of the October 1st. It will go beyond the October. Some of them got approved in December 2024. Okay. Until then, they can be on the cap gap extension. What is a cap gap extension? Is somebody who finish either their OPT or the STEM OPT before the March, or during the between the March to the October, the fiscal year where the H1B starts. So if they finish the EAD in that gap while the H1B is pending, they don't have to apply for the extension, and or they don't qualify in fact for the extension because their OPT is finished. But as their H1B is still pending, they can be wait and stay here legally. They're not supposed to be working if the EAD is expires, but they can stay here legally until the H1B approves. So that's the rule before. So it is as long as it approves. Mostly it's October 2024, let's say. The new regulation, they just moved from October to the April of the following year. That means that you have time from April 2024 to the April of 2025 to stay in the country while your H1B gets approved. If you don't, if you didn't get approved before, I mean that let's say that if you do get approved before the April 2025, it's fine. If you didn't get it, but you have the time extended until the following year, which is a fiscal year starting from the, I'm sorry, the lottery starting from April 2025. So it's extended few months. It's not a major difference, but it is extended from the April to October to April of the following year. So you have few months added to the cap gap extension, which is a good thing. So those are the major changes happened. Other than that, if any H-1B employers are here or the beneficiaries, somebody who is in the call, one thing we are seeing majorly in the last 3 to 4 days is the site investigations. So site investigations or something always need to be prepared regardless of the administration. You need to have a certain documentation available, which is called the public access file. That means that your LCA, your I-129s, your payrolls, quarterly tax returns, all those kind of things, which is very, very important. The payrolls running according to the LCA. The Department of Labor, there is a two federal agencies could come to your office. One is the Department of Labor, one is the USCIS. So you do need to have a checklist. If you have an attorney, ask them. Or if you don't have them, maybe it's time for you to ask or reach out to us, our office. We will provide you the list, what need to be ready before somebody knocks your door. Okay. And with the new regulation, this is extended not only just to the employer place, they can come to the beneficiary's place, and they can come to the client's place. They can ask any of these questions to any managers, supervisors, anybody related to this whole conversation of the H-1B. So if you say that the beneficiary is working hybrid or beneficiary is working completely remote from home, that means that that address is going to go on the LCA. That means that you're welcoming your federal agents to your house because you did mention that that's your workplace. That's where you're going to be working. So don't be surprised if they're coming to you and knocking your door because you do mention that address in the LCA. That's your workplace. Okay. Before it was optional. Either you can able to join the investigation or no. Now they're highly encouraging everybody to cooperate this investigation because they're going to be in a multiple levels, and we are seeing a big shift of this. Again, this is there before also. A lot of people here saying that, what are you saying? This been there. Yes, it's been there, but it just got into mandatory than being optional before. So that means that we need to be more careful. We need to be have your paperwork ready. It doesn't have to be always physical paper, your LCS payrolls and all those things, but you have to have that public access file where in your computer or where somebody you can, if the officer do come, you have to let them open that one and have access for everything. That means that you need to maintain that public access file. So they are reaching to their beneficiaries, which is not a lot of people are prepared. You do have to prepare. If you give a work address as your house address, they will be coming to your house, and you should be ready to give that information. Okay. We will talk more about it, how to interact with officers. I think that that's one of the big question in the community right now. If the ICE knocks your door, how do we have to interact them? How do we even know that they are the officers? Can we give the information? How much information we can have it? Can we have a lawyer on behalf of us? So we're going to talk more about it after we finish the H-1Bs. Just thinking what else the new H-1B regulations.
Can I ask
Yeah,
one
site
question?
investigations is new thing. Is somebody talking?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question. Can I ask it now? Or
Go ahead.
yeah, so I have a question. So suppose someone is having his bachelor degree in civil engineering or mechanical engineering and worked in India in computer science background in IT companies. Now, if they got selected in H-1B and come and work over here H-1B in H-1B, so during extension, is there any problem for those people who are not from IT background? I mean, IT background means computer science or IT background, but working in IT companies for 10 or 12 years. Is there any impact on those people according to the new H-1B rules?
So the specialty occupation got little tighter. They are telling that you need to have education related to the specialty occupation, right? That can qualify both ways. Either you can have a direct degree. Let's say that if it is IT field, we encourage most of them to have the computer science degree or the IT related degree. There is other way also you can qualify. Most of that if you have enough experience, that means that 4+ experience to replace 1 year. Okay, so you need a 4 years degree. Obviously 4+4 is about 16 years. So if you have that kind of experience, you can totally um, have a new degree based on your experience. So either you can get evaluated directly from the degree, or you can get evaluated plus your education plus experience, or you can get evaluated just by experience. So if you have enough experience and you got evaluated, I don't think you should be worried about it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Um, I just want to see that if there is any questions here.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah.
actually, I came to US in last year August through a consultancy in H1B. So what happened is after coming here, there is a miscommunication between myself and the consultancy, and they have withdrawn my petition.
Mhm.
So I couldn't work. So I just converted my H1B to H4 under my husband who came in H1B.
Mhm.
So the fact is now I was in H4 for 3-4 years and I don't have any payroll running in US. Even though I have 10 plus years experience in India, I couldn't find a right job here. So and as of now, I am in H4. So is that possible? Like if anyone sponsor my H1B, I can transfer H4 to H1 and continue my job.
Yes, you can, but you have to make sure that the H1B is still valid, or is it revoked before you think about transferring.
They have withdrawn. It means like my H1 is still valid, right? Or how we can check that?
Your employer is the best to check it. If not, you have to go ahead and apply the new petition. Then only you know that if the petition is underlying petition, is it even valid or no. If it is the underlying petition, which is the initial petition, is itself is revoked, there is no, you can do the transfers before it got revoked, but if it is completely revoked, that means that your number is gone back into the registration, which is the lottery system again. So the only way you know is depend upon your contacts with the employer. If they might have told you that they revoked the H1B, or um, you just have to go ahead and apply the new one, and then you will figure it out that is it the underlying petition is available or not.
So like withdrawn and revoke both are same or is there any difference?
Withdrawn is something they just want to, is this a initial H1B?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Revoke is something if it is something they don't want to go forward, or if the USCIS found out if there is a fraud in related to anything with the beneficiary or the employer. But withdraw is something they're just withdrawing the petition for now, or they don't want to continue with the approved H1B petition, but there is nothing otherwise wrong about the petition. So
Okay.
either USCIS revoked for a particular reason, or you just withdrawn for no reason, just they don't want to continue the petition is something you need to figure out.
So they said they have withdrawn. So it means it's still valid, right? My H1B.
I hope so.
Is there any time period like till then after withdrawn we have some time period till they would get revoked or something like that?
No,
Okay.
USCIS makes the decision. They are the one who sends the letter if it is revoked.
So if I send my detail with and email to USCS, they can answer, right?
You have no right on that. Anytime
Okay.
it's related to the employment-based visas, only the employer has the access for that, or the attorney who represent behalf of the employer is the only one who has the access. Employee or the beneficiaries has no access for the I-140s, H-1Bs, anything related to the employment-based visas.
Okay. Actually,
To
they are
contact
not.
them.
not replying to my mails, not emailing and not responding to my mobiles or emails. That's the reason. I'm not sure what to do now.
The only way is file the new petition and see that goes through.
Okay, thank you.
Let's continue your talk. Later we will take the questions. Okay, Madhurima garu.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think that's a nutshell of the H-1Bs. Majority of them been there way before the new administration came through, and it changed during the Biden administration, and a lot of things are started back right before the Biden left. And the site investigation is something need to be very, very careful. And almost every employer I encourage to be trained for this. You can be the IT firm or you can be the non-IT firm. I know that people think that when it comes to H-1B, it's all about the IT. No, H-1B is not all about the IT. People can get the H-1Bs for the non-ITs too. And there are a lot of companies out there who hire the H-1Bs for the multiple reasons. So every employer, regardless of what your status is, if you have a foreign employee working for you, you need to have to make sure that you need to know what is the E-Verify, you need to know the complaints for the I-9, you need to know the complaints for the site investigations. All these things are all very, very important to know, even though E-Verify is not a mandatory. I strongly suggest every employer to do the E-Verify so that you know that you're making sure that all the paperwork is in correct. And one of the big shift we are also seeing at the U.S. consulate is especially to the IT firms. This one is one of the question we are seeing a lot, especially in Hyderabad, right? They want to know that did you pay to the employer to get the H-1B? This is such a common question. It's been there, that question been there before. But what we saw in the shift of last 2 to 3 weeks is almost every person getting this question run through. So you need to make sure what you're answering, how you're answering, depend upon how the things are going with you. Okay. So this is very, very important. And somebody talking? So the
Please
most
mute
important.
yourself. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
So the most important thing is when you go to the consulate, be prepared. And also, I'll encourage any employers or the beneficiaries, if they have the H-1B approved, especially to the IT firms I'm talking about, if you don't have a project, internal project, that means that there should be some kind of the product developing or some project has happening internally at the employer place. If you don't have one of those things happening for real, okay, people knows that when I say real, it only hits to the people who I'm talking to. If that's not happening, I strongly encourage everybody, don't send them to the consulate for the stamping at this point, make the amendments, okay? Make the amendments. If you find the client or if you got the project, do that H-1B amendment, get approved and send to the consulate to get the stamping. So this is one of the most common question asked at the consulate, okay? Other than that, just be prepared for the site investigation. Even though they're going to the consulate, they're sending back the emails with the questions about the project, the documentation, and the necessity of them coming to the United States to work. These are the common questions which users to get all these years, but we just almost everybody is getting the emails now, those things. Just be prepared for it. If when you file the H-1B, let's say that if they got approved last year or the year before and they never went to the stamping and they're going to the stamping now, if any changes happened with the initial H-1B, make sure you do the amendment with the USCIS in America first, get approved and go to the consulate. So you can have the updated documentation to provide it to the USCIS. So I think that pretty much we covered everything with the H-1B and birthright citizenship. The one small thing I want to talk about is a lot of us are hearing about the news, right? The ICE is stopping the people either at the schools, at the worship places. They're coming to your houses. They will stop you on the highway. All these things are all happening. Okay, always be prepared. Either they will stop you or no, or you may be thinking that I'm US citizen, I don't have to do anything. But everybody try to carry as much as the documentation to prove your status. Even if you're a permanent resident, have that green card with you in your wallet. It's important. Okay. So yes, you can show that later. You can do the things later. You can drag that, or they will follow you to home to show that document, or you can provide it later. But it is always easier if you have it already. Let's get it done. Show it what is your valid status. Move on, right? It's the same thing with the H-1Bs. Make sure that you have your that I-94 with you. Either you can print it. I know the nowadays it's all electronic, or if you have the status change or the extension, or if you have the 797 with the I-94, have that in your pocket. It's always important to have those documents. I know it's a very valuable documents. You may feel like you're going to miss somewhere if you carry that, but it is also important. It's not about the administration. I always encourage everybody to carry the valid documents so that it is easier to show that and prove that right there where you are, what you're doing. And the most important thing also is sometimes there's a lot of fraud and the scams could happen, right? When there's a lot of pressure in the community, especially right now, there's so much investigations happen. You could also have stopped by somebody who is not a ICE, who is not a police, who is not CBP. It may not be any federal agent, but they may say that they're a federal agent. But it's important for you. First of all, it's very important for any human being to be strong whenever if there's some third party approaches, right? Either it's an officer or somebody else, unknown person approaching you. We have to make sure, we have to assure ourselves that we are alerting ourselves first. Okay. The second thing is we shouldn't be worried if you're not done anything wrong, or you shouldn't be worrying about it, right? I know it's a very common instinct for humans, and also especially being Indians, right? A lot of people, very, very common in our culture, that we get worried so fast when you see the police stopping you. When is some other officer just knocking your car door or your house door or something like that. But just be strong. Don't let anybody come into your cars or into your house. Just you open your windows, ask them who they are, ask them to show your ID, ask them to show the warrant, right? It is important to show the warrant. You need to know your rights first. Don't be afraid. That's the first thing I can tell to everybody. Don't be afraid. Be firm to know what questions need to be asked. Ask them to show their ID. You recognize yourself. You need to confirm yourself, is that the officer is for real or no. If you think that you're not comfortable, you don't have to participate. You can always tell that I want to talk to an attorney. They're going to make you worried and scared. Hey, if you cooperate, I can help you to get your H-1B. I can help you to get your green card faster. I can make you legal. I can do this, I can do that. It's there are some common questions, right? When it comes to immigration, people can trigger and ask your questions that, hey, I know that you came like this, you came like that, I know about your history, your family, this and that. That's very common triggery questions. I shouldn't be worried about it. But don't let anybody directly face you. Ask them that they are the officer. Make sure that you confirm they are the officer. If you don't feel comfortable, tell that you have a lawyer or you need to talk to the lawyer before you cooperate in the investigation. So, but you do know this kind of the very basic information, so you will be ready. But as I always encourage, please do carry your IDs. So that helps a lot to clarify right then.
Thank you.
Those are the three
Yeah.
important things. I think that probably
Yeah.
we can talk, Srinigaru.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we can do
Actually, there are
know
couple
your
of
rights.
couple
Know
of
your
things.
rights. We can know your
Uh,
rights program. We can do one time.
yeah,
Not just in regarding to the immigration in general.
yeah,
I guess it's also important. I'll also encourage everybody, talk to your kids. Depend upon their age. If they're in the high school and the middle school, they probably will understand. Also tell them, know your rights. I don't know if you heard about it in the Orange County yesterday. There's a lot of the ICE raids happened in the schools, which is so unfortunate.
yes,
I feel so sorry for especially for the kids, right? Especially they don't know anything. They approached a 7-year-old asking about the status about the parents.
yep,
That is really unfortunate. What is a 7-year-old know? Especially when you're born here, you don't know the difference where you came from. And we are in a very sensitive situations, crucial situations. Don't ignore, regardless who you voted for. I don't want to talk about the politics, but it is important. The safety is important first. Make sure you educate your kids. Make sure you educate your elderly parents and also yourself, right? How we have to act when somebody reaches to you. So I wanted to wrap it up with this, and I know a lot of people has questions, so we'll take the questions.
Yeah, Madhurima garu, thank you for explaining all kind of what are the doubts generally with this tension situations for everybody with these new regulations and new changes. And the fact is, our people, from India, lot of people came for H1s jobs or for the students. We know that, we don't have that many jobs. And to be frank, in United States right now, 3 lakh people from India, they don't have the jobs. But lot of people, because they came and they are going through a lot of sufferings because of lack of job, financially they are suffering, and they are taking up the part-time jobs. Now, with these changes, with this current situation, what is your advice for these students or other H1B holders who are not having the jobs and they are trying to do the part-time jobs? What's your advice?
See, the advice is always the same. I know we discussed on this before. Regardless of the administration, regardless of the situations, you always need to follow the regulations. America is a land of laws. We all know, we agreed, we signed up for that before we came to this country. Okay? So if somebody wants to go out of the regulations, that means that they're taking a chance. That's there always, regardless of what the situations are. There is no particular situations happening right now. It's more raids are happening now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're watching the news. On Monday in Florida, we are having a special session up in Tallahassee just for the immigration. The goal of the governor is to make sure whatever the Trump is trying to do, he wants to put it in practice in Florida right away.
Right away, yeah.
So
He
what
said,
is that
yeah.
means? That means that everybody needs to be alert in there, especially focused on some businesses like restaurants, grocery stores, these kind of things where a lot of people do
Gas
go and
stations.
work other kind of the jobs, So need to be more alerted on this,
Yes.
And again, bottom line is anytime you're going out of the regulation, you need to be ready to face the situation.
Yep. And also, we need to follow, the land of law regulations and civil laws and other laws we need to obey. So don't take it for granted. And a lot of, if you are in a DUI case, you are almost out.
Yeah, and also the part of the new executive order regarding to the immigration is I know in last few years, I myself observed a lot with this is a lot of Indian kids with the students or other, I don't specify anything like, we also got the calls from the embassy and other ways. There's a lot of shopliftings happening. Okay.
Yeah.
People thinks that it's just like, oh, it's just a candy, right? I can just take it from the store. It's a still shoplifting. Okay. So if you are legal in this country, let's say you're on F1, H1, whatever it is, even you're legal in this country, and if you do get into those kind of the trouble anymore, like shoplifting, even like I'm not talking about the felony, aggravated felonies or anything like that, even a small miscellaneous misdemeanors or anything like that, they still you're in the radar for the deporting these kind of the people also, even if you have legal status. Before they used to take you to the court and just take whatever the classes to be. Most of those are usually trouble when they're returning back to the country. But now with the new regulation, they want once you are in that radar of the criminal history, they want you're going to be automatically in the deportation class.
Yep.
So I just want you to be careful. It's not worth doing those things. It's not even worth doing those things.
So all the regulations, whatever there earlier, even though they are not implementing, but this time, right now, they are going to implement very strictly. Don't invite yourself into the risk, even though, as Madhurima garu said, even though you are a legal resident here, but if you do any mistakes, small mistakes like those what she mentioned, we have been, Ourselves in Florida, we dealt with so many cases of shoplifting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
we
in
did.
last few years, it's a lot of them, but most of them are very, very silly, you know.
Silly.
I mean, that pack of pasta and a pack of this and that. I mean, like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it for you to take a risk of your life. You worked so hard to come here, whatever the basis you came here, and you're leaving just to buy one pack of crackers. I don't think so. It's worth it.
That's one thing. So the DUI also very important. And also one more thing, it is there earlier also. Recently, one social media is circulating that. So they're one of the parents, they are coming and they don't have the return ticket and they sent them back to India. So
That's also been there long
yeah,
time.
long time.
So what the goal here you have to learn is whenever you're coming temporarily into the country, right?
Yeah,
It's not just to the parents. Anybody who is coming temporarily,
visiting.
especially on the B1, B2, right? Or even if you're coming on the H1B or a P3, TN, L1, whatever it is, you need to have an itinerary. Okay, you need to have an itinerary. Hey, I have an employer letter saying for 3 years. Or if you're coming for a particular reason to coming to the United States to visit your family or something, if I'm coming here for 6 months or 3 months, whatever the duration is, you need to have that return ticket because they're not the H1Bs, right? H1Bs, you have an approval, you have an employment letter showing that you're going to be here for 3 years. For somebody who's coming on the B1, B2, there is no letters for them. Okay. The only confirmation for them is having the return ticket so that you know that the duration you're planning to stay here.
Yeah, that is one. One more thing for the green card holders also. Recently, one case happened actually in New York. So the green card holder has been on the green card almost 10 years. So while he was coming back to USA, I don't know, somewhat, he did not answer properly. Then immediately they looked his history. Some time back, couple of years back, he stayed over 6 months. Then they canceled his green card because showing this one, so they sent him back. There are cases, even though you have a green card, that doesn't mean that you are, taken for granted. And this one, and also, if you have to stay more than 6 months, there are legal, there are procedures involved. Can you please advise for that?
Yeah. So the whole reason you're getting the permanent residency means that you're planning to stay in America permanently. That's a goal, right? You want to make America as your home. Okay. So this has to be your primary place that you have to live. That means that you need to stay at least more than 6 months per year in the United States. Okay. People plans sometimes that they wanted to stay longer, more than 6 months outside the country. There is a certain way you can apply for the application ahead of the time to get the parole. Up to 2 years, you could stay out of the country. So if you can take the permission and go and you know for sure that you're not coming back for 6 months, do apply for the advance parole, even if you have the green card. Okay. But you left the country, you're planning to come back within 6 months, but something happened, emergency, you couldn't able to come within the 6 months. But try to come within a reasonable time. If you couldn't come, just have that information or have that documentation showing that you do have a ticket to come back within a 6 months, but you couldn't come within a time frame because of this reasons, which is very important, that you need to be staying back. That the reason is also very important. You can't tell the silly reasons that you have to stay back. Okay, those reasons are very important, and I do encourage them to come back as soon as they can or closer to the 6 months, at least before the 1 year. Never ever stayed over 1 year without having the advance parole, and don't even plan to stay over 6 months. If you can, always try to be less than 6 months. Again, few people, when you say 6 months, they will come one day before 6 months. Okay. Yeah. Then again, you're taking a risk of it, saying that you just wanted to come to meet the regulation. That's it. But you don't have any intention to stay here permanently. Don't try to drag it as much. And on the top of that, a lot of people don't practice this. And I do encourage the community to do it. when you say permanent residency in America, you need to have some kind of the ties to the America. It's not just you coming and going. All you have here is you're living with somebody doing something. But have something like a bank account. Have something. Make sure that you file the taxes, even though you don't have income. File the taxes with the zero returns. That's okay. Make sure that you have some kind of the links to show that you have a ties to the America. If you have the house, pay the bills. Make sure that you carry those bills. Make sure that you have some ties, not just coming and going back. That doesn't show that you're a permanent resident. Yes, that's one of the requirement. You have to be physically here. Physically here. Sometimes if you can't make it physically in 6 months, or if you're coming for 7 months or 8 months for any reason, carry the reason and also show the documents. You actually live here physically. These are the documents. I have a permanent residency here. Then that's the best way to get out of this. But as Srini is telling, that they can always go back to your history and look at it. Is this something you are repetitively doing it?
Okay, yeah, that's one more thing. And especially, now the situation is very tension with everybody. Only thing is you need to be more cautious, when you are living in US, you need to be more, careful while you're in the shop, you're on the road, you're in the restaurant. So you need to follow here the civil life, respect the civil laws here. This is
Always you
very,
make sure
very
that you have a
important.
reason. Yeah, you have a reason to travel. Remember that it's not something it's taken granted coming into the country. It's you every time you leave the country and coming back, you have a risks. Okay, you have to make sure that you follow the rules and regulations. You can say that I have the H1B, I have the F1, I have the green card, but the entry of in the country is always depend upon the CBP.
Yep.
If they found something which is not favorable, they have every right to send you back from there. And we see these cases every single day.
They will watch your WhatsApp messages also. Please remember that. If they have the case, if they doubt it, they take your phone and they go back to your WhatsApp messages also, because it happened the last year. That one lot of students, they sent them back based on the WhatsApp messages only, actually, because a lot of history is there with your communication. So that's why we should be very careful, and we should watch ourselves. And also regarding the H4 EAD, so what's your take on that one? How it impacts actually?
Nothing is changed for now. So I can't tell anything for future. It's not in talks at this point. So we have enough to worry about it. Nothing changed. Just enjoy as long as you have it.
Okay.
I don't think so. It's easy to go back that easy with the H4 EAD.
Okay.
And the good news is also is there is a 540-day extension with H4 EAD.
Mhm.
So even your case is pending, you still can use your receipt notice actually as the form of your authorization to work here.
Okay. So can we take this one? Can you read the chat message?
Yeah, somebody said that about the YouTube channel. As long as it's not active and it's not about monetary benefit, I think you can continue as a hobby. That's not an issue. Then there was asking question about the H4 to the F1 process. If you have an attorney, talk to them. If you're planning to do yourself, USCIS has very detailed how the process is there. You can go into the USCIS website and see that the change of status applications there. And do site investigations apply for H1B extensions as well? Absolutely. Site investigations can happen to any time. They can always go back to unlimited years. They wanted to audit you. They want to get the more information on your company, on your beneficiaries. The new thing is also is, again, whoever I'm telling, they will understand what it is. A lot of companies are running the payrolls for the sake of the payrolls, but there is no actual deposits in the bank, or there are deposits, and they are withdrawing those deposits and returning to whoever it is. There is so many of this happening. Some part of the industry of the H1B. I just want to leave it there, but the site investigations happening basically more focused on this in last few days. I just want you to be more alert on your payrolls or your quarterly tax returns and be ready to open your books for this. And if you're trying to avoid something, remember that all these federal agencies, including the IRS, SSA, Social Security Office, and also the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, all these are all together. They're all under one system. They can still gather the information. So don't try to lie. You are inviting yourself into more criminal violations by lying these things. So be ready with the paperwork. If you're not already looked at it, they will go back, even though that particular beneficiary is not working for you. They do want to know that when that person started working for you, when he ended. I also encourage all the employers to send the withdrawal notices if they're not working with you anymore, or they're not going to continue to work anymore, because you do need to terminate. You do have to let the USCIS know that they're not working for you. If it's not, then if they don't change status or they don't extend or do anything and they're still living in that country, you still may be responsible for a lot of their status, and you don't want to be responsible. The sooner you know that they're not going to be working for you, send the termination letter. Do we have H1B lottery this year? Absolutely, I don't see why not. The instructions usually will come like around February 2nd. It's most probably going to be still the same process like last 2 years, the H1B registration. Yes, I'm on H4, but my H1B picked up second lottery and got 7. Do you have I-94 in your change of status 797? So when you applied for the H4 to H1B, you should have the approval notice with the H1B and the I-94 on the bottom. That's what they have to use to issue the SSN. You don't have to travel just to get the H1 status. Change of status with I-94 is automatically you already changed the status. You do have the new I-94 with that. I'm in Orlando since 2023. Travel in visa stamping. Do we need to worry about stamping and re-entry to the US? I mean that you have all the documentation, and if the employer provides everything and all your job duties and your workplace and everything is accurate, I don't want anybody afraid traveling here. Yes, you do have to carry the documentation all the time. Make sure that you have that visa stamping and the new employment letter. Since you're saying it's extension, make sure you also have the payrolls with you, showing that you've continuously been working for the employer, both at the consulate and also at the CBP. Make sure that you have the documentation. When you're traveling, make sure that you have the folder with all the documentation. Be ready to submit to the CBP when you enter into the United States. I shouldn't be worried. I don't want to make the people worried to go to the stampings or traveling. If you do have a reason and you have all legal documents, with all good reasons, please do travel if you have to travel.
ఎక్కువ దొరికాయా కొన్ని మందికి ఇచ్చాం కొన్ని తీసుకున్నాను నేను రండి మంచి పని చేస్తాం
If I-140 is approved, is it easier in each case for H1B extension, or it does not make any difference with H1B rules? No, it doesn't make any rules. I'm sorry, it doesn't make any difference. I-140 is only good if you're going beyond 6 years. That has always been there, nothing changed about. Has anything changed for EB1 and EB5? No, nothing changed, only the EB2 NIW. The requirements change a little bit, but nothing changed with the EB1 and EB5. Requirements stays the same. But as you all know that we always have to look into the visa bulletin just to see that where the dates are there and the backlogs and all those kind of things. I guess that's it, Srinigar.
I have one more question. Sorry, I already posted. So if a person is laid off due to a job, if they move from H1B to B1, so later if they get the job, new job, they file amendment or transfer, whatever the things. So they need to move out of the country since they're transferring again from B1 to H1 to get it
No,
stamped.
if the B1 is valid, I mean that if the B1 got approved, that means it changes status from the H1B to the B1. That if nothing happened to the existing H1B, it's not revoked, they can always go back from the B1 to the H1B, change of status in America. They don't have to leave the country.
Okay, so another thing I'm keep on seeing in the social media, like maybe hearing, like if person due to loss of job they move to B1, what happens to the kids who is going to the school? In that case, what they need to aware of? So it's just not me. I've seen this question so many times. Maybe it will be good.
I mean that sometimes the family has to separate to travel, right? We are not going to travel all the time together, I mean that they hoping that they still have their status here while you're gone out of the country. And if you get stuck with the 221G, is that your particular question?
No, my question is like if they move from H1B to B1 or due to
They
job
also
layoff.
have to do the B1. They also have to get the B1.
Yeah, but if the kid is going to the school, is it legal them to go to school? Because on B1, everyone knows that it's not legal go to school, right? If it is a citizen, then yes. But if it is a B1,
Depend upon the age, you can also get the F1 to the high school students, those kind of things, Depend upon the age of the kid. You could also change to the F1 to the particular kid. And up to the middle school, a lot of the schools do agree on the B2.
Okay. So we need to inform them to make sure that we are in legal with them, right?
Correct, yeah.
Without informing them, it will be illegal, right? If they found out that
I think as long as you're legal, you're fine. You can always update the status. But they don't have any particular documentation to make sure that which visa you change it from one to the other. They only look into the non-immigrant visa status.
Okay.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I lost a job and basically I've overstayed more than 60 days and I didn't apply for B1 or B2. So what happened is I got a new job and I applied for transfer and it did get approved. So right now I'm thinking to go to India and I want to get my visa stamped. So will it there be any issue if I give that there is more than 60 days, right? So will it be any problem for stamping?
So you applied for the transfer after 60 days?
Yes.
Is your I-94 was valid?
I-94 they already approved without my pay stubs and all the stuff.
No. I mean that when you did the transfer, is your I-94 was valid?
Yes.
Okay. So what is the gap you have between both?
I think 20 days more, I think 80 days like that.
Okay. Yeah, the consulates don't have anything on that. If USCIS approved, then you should be fine on that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I'm just putting my information here. Somebody asked about it. And it's also on the flyer if you guys.
Yeah, all the information, Madhurima garu information is on the flyer. So you can call the office directly and take appointment, and also you can email.
But if anything concerning for the community, I always love to do the webinars. But if it is something private, do contact my office. Then we can do one-on-one on that.
Yeah.
I think there's one question. POE CVP can deny entry to H1 by assuming she's being. I don't think they have a right to deny the entry. I mean, she's on H1, right? Unless it's a safety issue that she can't able to travel, depend upon how close she is into the term of giving birth to baby, I don't see CBP is going to stop just because she is a H4 pregnant. No, that's a humanitarian question. Okay.
So thank you, Madhurima garu. It's a very, very useful session at this time. So any more questions? So this recording will be, shared in our group. So,
Sir, this is Kalavati. I just want to discuss once with Madhuri Layer Garu. So, hello, ma'am. This is Kalavati. Very good afternoon. So, I already posted in the conversation in the chat history saying that I got my H4 when I'm traveling to US. After traveling here, I got my H1B and I got I-797B document. So, with that, I traveled to with that, I went to SN office and they told like it's rejected because with that you can't get SSN. So without traveling any country, can I get my H1B here? Like I-94 record changing here, is there any process?
But you should have the I-94. They should honor that one. Sometimes it takes little time.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes little time between the agencies, immigration sending to the Social Security office about the updates on the immigration status change.
Okay.
You should retry on that. It happens sometimes. People don't get it right away. It happens same thing with the driver's license too.
I got my DL long back, but
Okay.
I'm waiting for the I-94.
No, I'm just saying in general, whenever
Okay.
there is a change of status and the approval notices, they do get some glitches with both with the driver's license and also with the Social Security office. Do go back. If you have I-94, they should honor that.
Okay. But I-94 it's showing like H4 visa status, so that's why I think they rejected.
Not the I-94 on your passport. I'm talking about you change the status, right? You change the status here, H4 to H1B.
Yes, correct.
Did you get the H1B before you traveled on H4, or did you get the H1B after you are in the United States on H4?
No, when I'm in the United States, this year I got picked up my H1B. Previously, I'm having H4.
Correct.
Yeah.
So your H1B got approved while you're on the H4.
Correct.
And you didn't travel after.
No.
So then they should accept your I-94 then based on the 797.
But they didn't. They said like either I should be having in my passport H1B copy, or else in the I-94 record I should have always H1B. The travel record should be. But both I'm having H4 only, so that's why they rejected me to give the SSN.
Obviously, it's going to be on H4, right? Because that's where you traveled last time based on the H4. But after you coming into the United States, your I-94 was updated.
But it didn't. That's a problem. Still
It doesn't update in the system. It updated on your document 797.
Yes, but they're not considering that document itself.
They have to consider. I'm thinking that because it was not updated between the systems, probably it is there. Did you try to go back again and do ask the supervisor? Sometimes not officers are all aware about the immigration.
So then do you want me to take another appointment in the SSN and go and try it once again?
100%.
Okay. Sure, definitely. Yeah, thank you so much, Madhurima. Yeah, thank you.
There are two more, I think, charts you can see, Madhurima garu.
In H1B status, could you get insurance certificate and sell insurance policy? Are you trying to be insurance agent? Is that what it is? Not really sure. So I know there's a lot of questions on this side, and now the H1Bs are getting alert if they're getting the income on the other ways, right? It's always important what is active, what is passive. But it's some of the businesses are very, very hard to know that what is active and passive because they may be involved both, As long as you're not actively pursuing, that means that you're not physically and mentally putting your time on doing that particular job, then it's passive. That means that somebody mentioned here about the rental property. That means that you're not sitting there to do anything for it. You're just um, earning the income based on something you own. That's okay. That's still passive. I didn't understand exactly about the insurance policy here.
So there is one more about the citizen, who born in 2024. You can see that.
Travel to USA and no, I mean that he's still a baby. No, he should be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of the things when you have a US citizenship, you need to be concerned about the country you're going it. They have limitations. Like India may have limitations, or sometimes when the adults goes on certain places, like a US citizens, who automatically all the US citizens become foreigners to the Indians, right? Even though we all born in India,
Yeah.
then you have to follow the regulations of the Indian law when you are in the country of India. You need to inform to the police after certain days if you have to stay longer. Those kind of the regulations. It's depend how the India is practicing those rules. I don't want to comment on that. I don't practice there, but India do have some regulations that we as a US citizens have to report.
So thank you, Madhurima garu. Very informative session. It is very useful for all our community. And if you guys have any questions, please, the email and Madhurima garu information is on the flyer and here also. So thank you so much. And uh, we are going to do, quarterly one with Madhurima garu because of the current situations. If needed more frequently, also we are going to have these webinar Zoom sessions. So definitely, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
just be safe, everybody, and be alert. Know your rights. Don't be worried. Don't be afraid. Just seeing somebody, just be alert and be safe. That's the most important thing.
That's very important, actually. I'm much worried about the part-time jobs actually right now.
Mhm.
So that is the key thing because a lot of them are here without the jobs and they are doing the students or H1B holders on OTP. Lot of them. Please don't
Think
invite
about the risks, right? It's always
risk.
important. Think
Yeah,
about
it
the
is. You are
risks before
inviting
you
the
do
risk.
something.
You are inviting the risk actually.
Yeah.
So that's why I know it is very hard without the financial support here, but that means that you're inviting the people to come and knock your door. Okay.
You probably saw the news, right? Couple of days ago in the New Jersey or
Yeah,
somewhere.
New
They
Jersey and
got
Newark, they died.
Virginia. They got shot. The student who is working in the, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah, the
like
gas
a gas
station.
station.
We
Yeah,
are
yeah.
we are helping to send the body to India. That's he just went to deliver.
Unfortunate, like the student, especially the parents.
Yeah.
They're devastating with all these things. Yeah, just be careful, regardless what the status is. First, safety comes than anything
Safety
else.
comes first, yeah, because we have seen lot of cases. The CFIC also helping to send, repatriate the remains who unfortunately died here. We have seen so many cases, drug overdosage, accidents, drowning cases, suicides, and like these, gunshots and somebody killing. These are all. So everybody's life is very important and parents are there, they are the sufferers. Please be safe and all the
And
best.
don't leave anybody alone, especially the kids or the elderly parents, especially if they don't know the translations and those kind of things, if they can't able to read, or just don't leave them alone. Have somebody with them all the time, or take with you whenever you can.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, it's very important. And elderly abuse is really getting a lot in our community. And be careful with that. I know, especially when they are like the weather is nice, they like to walk alone. These things,
Yep.
just be within the community, be within the things. Safety is important. And the other thing I want to tell, especially to the students of the Indian communities, there's a lot of identity theft is happening.
Mhm.
That's the biggest crime. That's the biggest crime. We have somebody who called from the embassy in from Atlanta. There's somebody in the jail from last 28 months, and the parents are devastated from India, and they're reaching out the home ministry in India and reaching out to the embassy in Atlanta. They reached out to me last week saying that is anything we can do about it. Of course, identity theft is one of the things. He does have the other charges, but um, immigration, they don't care. Like we don't even want to involve until the state can confirm on the criminal violation first. That means that they need to finish their sentence. He has a life sentence. Can you believe his
Oh, yeah,
life,
yeah.
rest of the life?
Those
Is it even worth it?
These are the cases. Not only this one. Recently, lot of master students, they are chatting with unknown people and inviting the problems. Okay,
That's become a big deal.
that's a big in now in our student community, especially. Some of them are H1s also there, but this is this is
And the
growing
green
a
card
lot.
holders also there. Green card holders are any not safe. I'm telling
No,
you,
no,
you
no.
know.
Yeah,
Even the citizens are not safe sometimes.
anybody
They
is not
want
safe.
the denaturalization. Okay.
Yeah.
So regardless of the status, all I tell, I want to complete this one. I know keep telling this one, don't take the risk. Don't
Yep.
have to do. If you don't know the regulation, try to educate the regulation. Okay. Once you know the regulation, try not to do anything against to it. That's simple. I know
Yep.
it's hard. It's tempting. Social media reels are tempting.
Yep.
Just because somebody did something, it doesn't mean that you have to do it. I know I'm getting into philosophy, but I'll end here.
Yeah, no. That's we need it because I don't want to bring all of the stories here because we have been helping them in a lot of cases and even in criminal also we are getting them from the jail with these cases. But we want to give heads up to the community. Don't invite all these risks. Okay.
Yeah, we have the clients coming always say that, oh, they did it, why can't we do it? Or their attorney told that, why are you not telling? I don't compare with anybody.
Yep.
Everybody has to follow the regulation. That's the most important thing. Either I'm a lawyer or you're a regular citizen. It doesn't matter. We are all the human beings. We are all the citizens. We need to oblige to the whichever country you are, you have to follow that country's rules and regulations. That's it, period. There's nothing to discuss about
Yep.
it. And
So
somebody asked about our services here. We do all immigration laws from deportation to all the business EB5s to EB1, EB2s, H1Bs, L1s, any kind of the immigration services. And we also do the real estate law. And we do also have an office in India where we also practice the Indian laws. So do contact us if you need any services. Okay, Srinigar.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you all. If you have any questions, please reach out to Madhurima Garu. Or if any of your personal issues or any personal problems, CFIC is there. You guys can reach out to CFIC admins or to me. So we are going to give you appropriate suggestions based on your situations. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srini.